Hello again, and welcome to another opener tutorial guide. A lot of people were asking, how do I open without Shadow Dance? Or what if I'm using Glyph of Hemorrhaging Veins? So I'm going to cover 3 more rotations that will help maximize your opener's efficiency. As I mentioned before in the other video, anytime you plan to open up on a target, you want to be at full energy and have Slice and Dice rolling. You can utilize premeditation to get Slice and Dice active from stealth without engaging your target. So this first opener is using Glyph of Hemorrhaging Veins, but using absolutely no cooldowns. So this rotation starts off with a cheap shot, then a hemorrhage. I then backstab from Subterfuge until I have 5 combo points, then kidney shot as soon as the cheap shot fades, and continue to spam backstab until I have 5 combo points, and then eviscerate. I happen to get a lot of crits here on this monk, and just shred him to pieces. Absolutely insane damage. The key here is backstabbing from Subterfuge instead of using ambush. I feel ambush's energy cost is way too high unless you're shadow dancing. Another thing that a lot of people neglect is that the damage from Master of Subtlety, combined with your proc trinket, can make for some pretty devastating backstabs. I'm not going to cover this rotation again, as it mostly depends on kidney shot at 5 combo points and eviscerate at 5 combo points. The filler in between is just backstab and combo points generated from Honor Amongst Thieves. Next up is Shadow Dance with Glyph of Hemorrhaging Veins. We start this opener with a cheap shot, Hemo, then Shadow Dance, Ambush, Eviscerate at 5 combo points. Here we'd wait a second for the cheap shot to fade, cheap shot again, ambush, and potentially eviscerate at 4 or 5 combo points. If you need to, Mark for Death Eviscerate is always available for that extra damage. Now there's plenty of debate about which Shadow Dance opener is most effective, using Rupture or Glyph of Hemorrhaging Veins. Really, it's up to you. Both openers can provide insanely strong burst damage, and the only thing that you get from using Glyph of Hemorrhaging Veins is easier access to your sanguinary veins, and by not using it, you get 0.5 seconds on your cheap shot, or access to another defensive glyph. Now Rogue is one of those classes that has a lot of abilities that can be used in different ways. For example, here I cheap shot a priest, backstab to 5 combo points to do it for as little energy as possible, then kidney shot, shadow dance, ambush eviscerate, garrote out of that stun, and just rape this priest. That's a full cheap shot, a half kidney, and 4.5 seconds of silence, all while you're laying into a target. In a 1v1 situation where you can't be peeled, Rogue definitely has the best lockdown on a single target. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of battleground footage and explain to you exactly what I'm doing and how I open on each target. Here I pre-med from stealth, Slice and Dice, then cheap shot, Hemo, ambush, eviscerate, Mark for Death, eviscerate, and just absolutely explode this warlock instantaneously. I Mark for Death the warrior, put recuperate up, evasion, pop Cloak of Shadows to avoid as much damage as possible, then vanish. I pool energy to full from stealth and open with Shadow Blades as hard as physically possible on the warrior and take him to Pound Town. The main thing you're trying to accomplish when you're opening as a rogue is finding a way to lock your target out as long as possible while dealing as much damage to them as you can. Now, sometimes the best way to do that is to garrote them into a kidney, as you've seen here in this clip, or stun them twice, then garrote afterwards, as you've seen, like I did to that priest earlier. Or sometimes it's just easy enough to double stun, because the class you're fighting isn't really affected by silences. It all depends on what you're facing and what you're trying to accomplish. And most of the time, we're trying to shit on our enemies. And the best way to do that is to have a full bar of energy and utilize our combo points in an effective manner. That means only using finishers when we're really close to 5 combo points, because when we are, we're guaranteed a 25 energy replenished, which is quite substantial in the long run. Especially if you're getting 3 eviscerates off during a combo, that's 75 energy replenished. That's enough for an ambush. Maybe after a few seconds, you'll have enough for another ambush. As you can see, a rogue's damage can chain pretty substantially when you're utilizing your combo points effectively. On top of that, it's important to know what your enemies are doing to reduce the damage that you're dealing. For example, this druid that I'm fighting currently has no bark skin. That's because I've been opening him and resetting constantly whenever he uses defensive CDs, so that he can't get any pressure on me, and anytime I'm opening him, I'm either keeping him stunned and controlled, forcing him to use his bark skin, then resetting, opening him again once he's off stun DR, and he has no bark skin, and taking him out. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you're still yearning for information, and you haven't watched the first opener video, I suggest you take a moment to go do so, because that video is just as good as this one. There's plenty of information there, and a few alternative openers. That's the beauty about Rogue. We're not a class that just runs in and clicks the same 4 buttons in the opener. We have to do different things depending on what we're fighting and what we're trying to do. Head on down to the channel's homepage and check out the Informationals playlist. There you'll find all sorts of valuable videos with great tips for Rogue, such as energy pooling, proc trinket management, and how to maximize your burst mid-game. Until next time, my friends, I'm Sativ, and I want you guys to stay sneaky.